Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the lights down. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party. We just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party.
Hey.
What? There you go. What's up? What's up? Hey. Yeah, you know she ready when she got that drink flowing.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wine just up the margarita.
I heard that. You know what it is. It's a Chatty House after party. Everybody in full effect. We got ourselves, before we start, we got a special guest today. Apparently he is responsible for all the grunge in Seattle, according to Kyle Madsen. So producer extraordinaire. Does everything, it seems like, over at Odyssey. And apparently there's a secret. I think he's trying to take Jesse's job at some point. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to start stuff. Joe Brazil is in the house.
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
What's
I'm
up?
excited. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I wanted to start some Odyssey beef just so we can have some kind of drama in the office to watch.
You know?
But no. All right. We love Jesse too.
No, me and Jesse are close. Me and Jesse are buddies. That's my guy.
You actually get him to talk more than 15 words at a time, or?
Yeah. I'll have conversations with him, no doubt. Yeah, he actually I credit a lot of what I know now to him. He taught me a ton. I mean, he taught me the ones and twos and everything. So learning the board and everything, that was all Jesse. Shout out Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse's dope. Like when all the StreamYard stuff went down, like he was my go-to. We're like, hey, like that when it was dicey for that week, I'm like, hey, bro, can you get me on?
Yeah.
He got everything. He's always got answers to everything, and he's showing me a couple tricks. So kudos to Jesse, man. He's always all extraordinary too. So, I mean, before we start anything, just like, I don't know how many people know a lot of stuff about you, Joe. Like, where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm Joe Brazil. I produce for The Insiders from 10 to noon on ESPN 1320. I'm from Rockland. I grew up here my whole life. I went to Whitney High School. I'm 24 years old. I love everything Kings. I love everything San Francisco Giants. And realistically, like I'm just big into the Sacramento scene as a whole. Concerts in the park. I'm out at Aftershock. Everything to do with music in Sacramento as well. Big on that. Huge cat guy. And then I got to, of course, shout out my dad, shout out my brother, shout out my grandpa, and all my friends. I love all you guys so much. So yeah, I have a great support group, and I've just been chipping away for about 2 years here. And I started as a promotions guy, and I still am. I'm still in the promotions team for Odyssey. I'm on all 6 stations. So if you ever are out at an event that we're at, I'm probably out there. And that's pretty much the whole spiel.
So have you done stuff with Abe?
Yeah, I have. I've done a ton of stuff with Abe. My desk is actually right next to Abe's studio. So I spend a lot of time talking to him every day. I have done a couple of events with him. And as I was mentioning before we went live, he was the main host of all of the Aftershock interviews that we had going on. And so I produced for that. And that's when I got really close with him in the trailer. We had like a trailer going on out there at Aftershock. And Abe's an awesome guy. I love him.
Hey, Joe, I kind of asked this to everybody who's come on, but, getting into the work that you do now, is that something that you always wanted to do? Like, did you go to school for that? Or, how did you come about working where you're working? And is that always something that you saw yourself doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. So growing up, I wanted to be in the game. I wanted to be a baseball player. And eventually, that kind of fades out a little bit. And I've always been a huge fan of Kruk and Kipe. And I credit them truly for me having this like epiphany a couple years ago. About 4 or 5 years ago is when I really decided to lock in on sports and being a reporter and being in the scene in that way. And then about 2 years ago, I found this job at Odyssey as a promotions person, and I've just been kind of chipping away at it since then.
So, Joe, who's worse to work with? The Insiders.
I knew it was coming. Okay, so I love both of them, man. I can't talk any dirt on either of their names.
They don't
I
watch.
would
You can
say-
say it.
I would say
We're just friends here.
the worst person to work with is definitely Charlie.
Wow.
No, that's a lie.
I'm
Charlie
just
actually does
kidding.
watch.
I am kidding. Charlie is amazing.
Yeah, Charlie's the most chill dude, man. That
Yeah,
dude is
no,
awesome.
absolutely.
Now I asked you about Abe just because I didn't know much about, even though he's from Chicago. I think he moved here like around the same time I did, which is crazy. But like we both have like hung out at some of the same spots in Chicago. And it's kind of cool to have that connects with him. But when you do see him, tell him I said fuck the Sox. And,
Okay, yeah,
Damn.
I'll let him know. Yeah, it was.
oh,
it
he
was
says
funny.
fuck the Cubs all the time, so it's okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he's a big White Sox fan. It was funny
He
when he moved here. It was hilarious, just kind of acclimating him to the area. And I remember telling him about how people in the Bay Area, especially San Francisco, don't really have air conditioning, and he thought that was the crazy.
Insane.
Understand what I was trying to tell him. So just funny moments like that with him,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, I get that 100%. I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, obviously your sports fandom it's been rough. So we'll start with the first one. We'll go with the Kings. It's been a lot of talk. Kenny decided to kind of break the waves a little bit, talking about trading Sabonis. We're going to talk about Monk in a little bit too, just because I know they brought it up. So I'm going to beat them to the punch, just because they're always beating us to the punch on something. So F them too. I'm just in that mood today. So, but we'll start with Sabonis. Like I'd like to hear what everybody thinks about trading
Getting burned
Sabonis.
in the chat, dude. With this.
Oh, it's okay. I'm all right with that. I'm all right. I don't care. It's normal. I mean, if the chat's not burning you, they don't love you. So,
It's a fact.
so Joe, what are your thoughts on where the Kings stand right now and possible big moves or little moves, or do you think there should be any moves at all at this point?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't like to see complacency, no doubt about that. It seemed like we had something going not too long ago, and to see us fall to where we're at now has been just devastating, to say the least. I need to see something to convince me. I want to see us shake it up this offseason. I do love Sabonis, but after his past, now we have a little bit of a sample size with his play-in and playoff play, and it's just, man, it's rough. And this is coming from a guy I'm a huge Sabonis fan. I'm such a proprietor for him. But I just can't seem to see how, if we continue doing what we already are doing, how it's going to be any different. Like, we need to switch something up. And if that means Sabonis is the one that shakes it up for us, I guess we got to let him go. So
Where do you fall on where the team is? Do you feel like we need to do a full reset of everything, or do you think we're only one or two pieces away from being competitive again?
That's a really tough question. It kind of depends on how bought in the guys are to Doug Christie as well. I feel like he's going to do a great job this year. I really do. He was put in a tough situation, and I think there's a ton of positives out of what Doug Christie did last year. I think, truthfully, I think we need to shake it up, yeah. And I don't think we can stay still. Yeah, we got to do something.
Yeah. So last week we went down the whole roster. Is there a player that is untouchable to you? Like, do not trade him.
Absolutely. Keon Ellis should absolutely stay on the team for what he's worth and his value and everything. Keon Ellis, we need to make sure we keep him going forward. That would be number one for me. I know it's a beaten horse, but Keegan Murray, I want to see Keegan Murray stay on the team. I feel like if we could somehow just get a little bit more aggression into him, I think this team could be really special, building around pieces like Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray. And to James and Kyle's point, how they say it's a lot easier to build around guys like that. It's really hard to build around someone like Monk. We got to keep Monk. But it's really hard to build around shooting guards.
Excuse me, what?
We do not
We'll
have
get to that.
keep
We'll
him.
get to that.
We don't. Okay.
Where do you see? What do you see? I mean, there's been we've beaten the horse down a lot about Sabonis being a one. What is he really? I mean, what are your thoughts on him as a player and where he's at and what he can or isn't?
You know, I think he's an amazing player. I really do. I when we brought him in and when he was at his peak, his echelon, I wanted to believe he could be a 1B, you know, especially when him and Fox gelled really well. Currently, with where we're at and just how the ball is not moving properly, and it seems like we're not running our offense through him anymore, I can't put him up there at the 1 or 2 anymore. So he's kind of falling a little bit for me. I'm losing confidence in him as far as his playoff performances specifically. That's just been really telling. And at the end of the day, once you get to the finish line and it's time to go to the playoffs, we need guys that perform under pressure.
I think every time, you know, about this time this year for the last 2 seasons, we get all excited about what could happen, what should happen, what we think is going to happen. Like how much faith do you have in Scott Perry? I mean, what little we know of him, you know, I mean, we know a little bit about the guy, but do you honestly think the Kings are going to make some wholesale changes, or do you think like we're running it back?
If I had to like truly bet on it, for the most part, I think we're going to be running it back. I don't think there's going to be a full rebuild coming, at least not this year. It's going to be, in my prediction, a somewhat familiar team. And whether that works out or not, I guess we'll see now that we have Doug as the full-time head coach and we do have Scott, and we have made a couple of changes. But I really don't see a huge shakeup coming this offseason.
Agreed.
What about DeMar? And there's always that talk that DeMar is probably the first person to go if anybody goes. Do you see him still coming back?
No. So I think DeMar's going. But what we get for him, I'm not positive. I truthfully like the idea, to Katrina's question, kind of backtrack a little bit. I do like the idea of a rebuild. And I think it would be in our best interest to trade DeMar for something like picks and younger guys, not like someone that's vetted right now. But I think DeMar's gone for sure.
Do you guys agree with Joe's assessment of Sabonis? Like, where do you guys stand? I mean, I know there's been talk this whole week, and Kenny's kind of laid out why he thinks it's, and I agree with him in the sense of like, I don't dislike the dude. It's not really about him. It's where this team is right now and where does he fit in those plans, and plugging holes and still watching leaks just pour out. Like, it doesn't, that's not the move to me. So if I don't want to see him go, but he's also not a number one option. Like, he just isn't. He's proven that. And at $49 million a year, whatever his contracts are, like, that seems like, you know, like that's a lot to put on somebody that you can't count on to carry your team. Whether that's fair or right to include the money in that, it just is what it is when you're trying to build a team and you got to use that's a lot of chunk of your cap money, right? So where do you guys stand on what to do with Sabonis at this point?
I mean, I agree. I think I don't think he's the number one. I mean, I think we all kind of came to that conclusion. I think he's one of those guys that has to have the right team around him. You know, I think that he could have benefited from what Fox was asking for, from athletic wings who can cut to the basket, who can hit a knockdown three and play defense. I mean, Sabonis needed that just like Fox did. And when they decided to get rid of Fox, I mean, now you have a player who, you know, has no, I don't know, for lack of a better term, he doesn't have that guaranteed guy to go to. How he was saying, okay, Fox, I'm going to get out of your way and let you cook. I'm going to pass. I'm going to rebound, do this. There's nobody really for him to do that anymore. DeMar, he demands the ball a lot, you know, and it's not his fault, you know, for better or worse, that's what he does. Keegan still hasn't taken that next step, you know, aggression wise. And Zach, he's kind of erratic. So I actually agree with Joe. I think everything hinges on Sabonis, on if the team is going to rebuild or not, or, you know, retool. If they get rid of him, then it's full on, you know, blow it up. If they keep him, then they're just going to keep retooling, and I don't know how that's going to work out either.
I think last week we all agreed that Sabonis is expendable when we did our whole player-by-player thing. I think we all agreed that he's expendable and we could look to ship him. And it's nothing against him as a person. Seems like a nice guy, seems like a great team player. But the big factors, the amount of money that he makes compared to what he's providing for us, like the rebounds are great, But when he's the only person on the team rebounding and nobody else is scoring, well, it just doesn't play out well for us as a team in the long run. And I agree with David. If we can get something for him, let's move him on. But if he's brought back, they're just going to keep retooling and trying to plug and play whatever they can. And I think a lot of the players that we have don't fit with what he does. There are a lot of slasher type players, whereas he needs that space to find the open man and pass to him. And DeMar can't do that. And we all thought Keegan was going to do that eventually. And he seems to regress since his rookie season. So hopefully he can find that 3-point shot again. And even our beloved Malik Monk, as much as he is an outside threat, he's still more of a slasher than anything. So he's going to take up space where DeMontis is supposed to be. So I think just the way this team is situated and what we have as players, it just doesn't fit with what he's supposed to be.
Yeah. I really don't want to give up Sabonis. Me personally, I hope he is seeking that clarity and he likes what's going on and that he will want to stay, and that they will find the right point guard to play alongside him. Because I really want to see Sabonis work with this team. But yeah, I agree. I think it all comes down to who they can get and what moves they make. Because otherwise, I don't like how the team is constructed right now.
So here's the kicker too, right? And this is going to lead into the next player, but I'm going to say this too, is that I think we're on agreement. Like if this team had been constructed properly, then we wouldn't even really care about his deficiencies, because they would just be complementing what the other players were doing. And it all would be like Indiana, right? Like that's been beaten down the path too about Indiana being constructed perfectly. Like you could have plugged and played someone like Sabonis on that team easily, and he would have flourished on that Indiana team, right? Being in the Miles Turner role or whatever. And no one's going to sit there and bat an eye about his money, even if it isn't quote unquote technically worth what he's giving you. It's working in that system. So it does work, and it does show, that it's worth that money at that point. But that goes into what I'll say about Monk is, for everyone that's talking about just put a pick and roll player next to Sabonis, that's what Monk is supposed to be. Like Monk is supposed to be that pick and roll guy. And so if he's supposed to be that guy that flourishes in that, then what are we talking about? Can Monk be that guy with Sabonis? Did we not give him enough time in the starting lineup, right, to be able to have that relationship with him where it could have worked out better? If Monk had started from the beginning of the year and got that full year in, do we think that would have worked out? Do we think that could have grown better and had a bit more clarity on whether or not, this is what it should be?
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, to clear things up a little bit, in a perfect world, I do want to keep Sabonis. I love him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as if they just aren't going to give him what he needs for us to succeed as a team. So that's where I feel like we probably are going to have to move on from him, but that's not what I want. I want us to be able to seek some clarity, I guess you would say, and build around pieces like him, because I think he's a great player, and we saw what he could do if we construct this team properly. He's an all-star caliber player, and he's an all-NBA caliber player. I just don't see them gearing this team up, and they've proven this now, that I just don't think they will put him in the greatest spot to succeed. That's where I kind of feel like if we were to ship him out, maybe ship out DeMar, whatnot, it might be time to just try all of this stuff over again.
David, what are you talking about? This is Sacramento. We have to have bullshit every season.
Every season.
It's not Sacramento without bullshit.
I think that's the biggest thing for everybody. I think whether we all agree on, and this goes for all of Chatty House, and we've seen all the crazy trades and all that. But I think everyone agrees. The one thing we can all agree on is that if you had done your jobs and constructed this team, you would have at least gotten a chance to see whether it really worked or not, and then you could come up with real decisions like, no, this guy didn't work, but you guys just wanted to live off this one beam team and let it ride to the ground. And even after the beam team year, we said this a million times too. Like we said, even after that, one of the greatest seasons ever we've watched, we still need help. There still needs to be another wing. We still need a
Absolutely.
true point guard. We still need these things to help grow this team. And it all fell on deaf ears. And it wasn't just fans. It was damn near every media member known to man. It was everybody outside of the team in other cities too. So, it's a damn shame that we couldn't ever really see what the true potential of this team was. And now we're just in shambles and have living through the what ifs. And it sucks because some of the players that are here would be awesome to keep, but you backed yourself into such a corner that you have to listen to everything and anything, and you might have to. I mean, like I'm with the whole rebuild. Like, dump everybody, get all your number one picks, like OKC, and I'll even show up to games. I'm not showing up at the price it is now, but I will show up, and I will show up to games and cheer, just knowing that there's a future ahead. That the sun is setting, but it's coming back up the next day. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you guys this. This is for Joe and for everybody. Let's say the Kings do, make some decent moves. They add some pieces. Looking at the outlook of the West, though, I mean, I think I'm more pessimistic than I was, last year, maybe the year before, because you got teams like the Spurs, the Rockets, obviously OKC. I even with all the turmoil, I think Minnesota's still better than the Kings. The Lakers, I don't know what they're going to do. The Warriors are probably still a little bit better than the Kings. Do you guys? Where are you guys at? Do you guys? Is it time to? I guess what I'm getting at in my fumbling way of asking is, do you think it's really time for that rebuild? Because I don't think the Kings are competing anytime soon against the West right now with the roster as it is now, or even just making little tweaks.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a big reason why I think in a perfect world, I want everything to be great, but that's clearly not what's happening. So to your point with how tough the West is about to be, I think it's time to pack things up. I really do. Just because even if we try and for lack of a better term, they're going to try to put their best pieces together. And even when they do, matching them up against what we have waiting for us next year, the teams we're going to have to verse, I just don't think it's going to work out very well. We can't really get any big name free agents here. It's not common. And I think we're going to just have to start with younger guys and try to hopefully build something from that.
But we have Scott Perry now. So in Scott Perry we trust, right?
He's Jesus Christ, huh? Okay.
I guess we'll see. We'll see.
The Church of Latter-day Perry. Okay. All right. So that's what we got. And that's another thing too, right? Is do we even trust this organization to make the right pick? You can have like 10 first-round picks, and all 10 of them will be point guards. Like, it'll just be like 10 straight point guards. Like,
that's the wild thing is that Monty loved point guards, but he never kept one. And that's what we need right now. And that's all he drafted was point guards, and we never.
The irony.
Yeah, I'm gonna draft a point guard, and then my coach is never gonna play them. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. Great teamwork. I love it. Yeah, I don't know, and that's why I say with the whole my biggest regret is whether people agreed with it or not, was not letting Monk get a full season in with Sabonis in the starting unit and let him get those mistakes out of the way. It was gonna be hard for him it's hard for any point guard to transition from, out of all positions, a point guard transitioning from coming off the bench and your role's a certain thing, and now you're asked to do all these other things with a whole new crew, and to expect that to go flawless is just, that's not, that's fantasy. And I saw towards the end of last year, people were turning a little bit on Monk here and there, and I think that's more out of frustration than anything else. But it's just one of the biggest what ifs for me for this team is what is Monk's full capability with a good squad and starting. Like, I know what he can do off the bench. We all know what he can do off the bench, and that's great on a championship team. But could he be a starting guard on a championship team is the question. I don't think we're ever going to really find out, unfortunately, unless they just go into the season like that, which is, I wouldn't put it past that either. But I think my biggest thing is my biggest first thing to watch is what they do with DeMar. Like what they do as far as what they get back, and that tells me a lot, right? Whether we talked about it, whether it's picks, whether it's another superstar player somehow, some way, but whatever that is, I think that's a turning point on we're going to know at that point where this team is going, and I guess we'll see.
If this
We'll
team
see.
stays pat and we bring basically everybody back, what's your guys' starting lineup look like?
Give me, I wouldn't even care, to be honest. At that point, you're telling me you don't care. I don't care. So go ahead.
I mean, I guess I would like to see. Well, let's get Keon some time in the starting lineup, but we do have Levine, so then that would entail trying to run Keon at the 1. I mean, that's just a really tough question because this team, as it's built right now, we've got a lot of good players. We don't have anybody that synergizes together properly. So what you have is a bunch of good players who can't play basketball together. So I guess your starting lineup would be you'd have Monk, Levine, you'd have DeMar, and then you'd run Keegan and Sabonis. That's what it would look like if we
Team
went
lineup.
Yeah, and one of those seasons we can blame Luca. So can't put that on Monk.
Yeah.
I'm just going to blame Luca for both seasons that Malik was
too.
hurt. Why not?
Me too. Why did he force himself onto the Kings? That's what I want to know. It's all his fault.
Everything
That's
is.
what I wanna know. So
like-
what about you guys? Like that's a good Brazil gave his. What would you see if this team stays pat and everybody's here? What's your starting lineup on opening night?
I think the only things you would flip is the point guard position. I mean, and I wouldn't flip it, but I think the only changes somebody could make would be Monk for Ellis. And I agree with Joe. I think you're starting Monk with that group. I mean, that's what I would do, I guess, because, I mean, why not? I really don't have – going back to, trying to add pieces, I mean, I know we're talking about running the team back. Monk works with a bigger defensive guard, I mean, and I think that's you don't sit Levine on the bench because I actually think Monk could work with Ellis, but again, it's two smaller guards against. I don't know. I think I agree with Joe. I think you just start Monk.
Yeah, I still want to see Malik and Sabonis play together and have more time. So
Me too.
I'm not against Malik coming off the bench. If it doesn't work out, I'm not against it, but
I just don't know how you tell him to come out. If you have the same exact team that failed so many times,
yeah.
like I would, if I was him, like whether people think it's right or wrong, like I would take it as an insult for you to ask me to go back to the bench.
I agree,
Like
100%.
you're basically putting the blame on me. Like what I do, I didn't put this team together. I just did I've been every step of the way. I've done exactly what you asked me to do. As far as you want me to come off the bench, cool. I embraced it. I ran with it. Never complained about it. You knew I wanted to start. You let me start. You're blaming me for all the woes then, because that ain't me. So
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't that kind of happen at the end of the season? Because Malik was hurt and then he came back off the bench and Keon was starting, and it was like, oh yeah, they're gonna work him back into the starting role, but it didn't really happen.
I think it was just desperation at that point. They were trying to make any lineup work at any point to keep their playoff hopes alive, and and it just didn't work for whatever reason. Well, we know the reasons, but again, man, I still say kudos to Doug Christie for even keeping that group mentally, them not turn on him at all. Like that, to me, that's a big accomplishment in itself. I'm excited to see what he can do himself once he implements what he wants with his new coaching staff. Who knows how much input he has on the players coming in and out. At this point, it's probably not much, right? Because I think everything's in a flux right now. So I can't see. But the one thing, like we talk about running it back, we might be running the majority of this team back. I just can't see DeMar being part of that, though.
No, he's
Like,
not
I
going to be a
don't
part
see
of
that
it.
on both sides. I think he's done, and I think they're done, and it benefits both groups. If there's anybody that's gone just one person, it's going to be him. And then whatever happens after that is whether or not anybody would take anybody else, right? And then,
There
like
is some
you said,
silver linings. There is some silver linings to be had from this season. And I think the biggest one would be, like you said, that Doug did kind of keep this team under Pat. He kept them. There was no huge blowups, at least behind the scenes from what we know. And I think Doug is a positive, and I think we can look forward to seeing, like you said, exactly what he can do once he can get his full coaching staff in, hopefully have some sort of input on the players that are going in and coming out. And I think at the minimum, we can be somewhat excited about Doug Christie and having him as our full-time head coach.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a question I have for Joe. We've on this show we've talked about Keegan ad nauseum. You know what he is, what we think he's going to be. Let's say they do get rid of DeMar. Do you think, in your opinion, do you think Keegan could make that jump to that 18, 19 points a game score? And do you think he has that in him to be better than what he is now?
I personally absolutely think he has it. I think we need to move him to small forward, and asking him to be the best defender on the best guy 100% of the time is taking away from what he can do on the offensive end. I truthfully think, and especially I really like when he'll go through some stretches where he'll be attacking the paint. You'll see every once in a while he'll kind of find it a little bit. He'll be attacking the paint, be a little more aggressive than he normally would be. And if he can just find that aggression, attack the paint a little bit more, and we move him to the three, I absolutely think he can fill that role.
What are your thoughts of people saying that he can't play the three because he's so slow?
I would say that we're already using him as our best defender already, regardless. And I've seen him guard all the way down and all the way up. And I think he's an adaptable player. You saw him up his defense this past year or so. And I think he would get used to it. I think we'd be able to pull it off, especially if we pulled in someone who was defensive oriented at the 4 or maybe even the 5. I definitely think we could get away with that.
So are you in or out on the LaMelo Ball talk?
Ooh, as far as the names that I've heard thrown around, he's a little less enticing than a couple other ones for me. With that being said, I am in the younger generation, and I do think he's pretty cool. I think he's good. He's a flashy player, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what we need right now, especially just because I don't trust this organization to build around him properly. I feel like we might need some sort of base. We can't rely on LaMelo Ball to be our savior. It's just not going to happen. We're going to most likely end up failing him. We need a plug and play guy over him, and I don't think he's that much as some other people.
As a young person, what social media app do you follow LaMelo Ball on?
Okay, so I don't follow him on anything. But I guess it would be Instagram if I had to choose one. It would probably be Instagram.
What about
I don't have TikTok. They were giving me Andy from 94.7 the other day was giving me a hard time about that. I'm not on TikTok. I mainly stay on Instagram. And
are you on X? Oh, you're on X too, obviously.
Yeah, I am on X as well. Yeah.
Manny, to answer your question, I think I'm out on LaMelo. Not that he's not kind of like, not that he's not what Kenny says he is. He's a good scorer. He can facilitate. Unless they're going to change this roster drastically, him working on this roster, absolutely not. I don't think he would be good on this roster at all. So,
and I'd worry, isn't he really injury prone too? He's had some major, for such a young player, he's had some major injuries.
Absolutely. He's had problems staying on the court, and that immediately scares me away.
Yeah.
I wonder how I never really thought of, I never really put two and two together, but I wonder how hereditary that is, because both him and his brother have had issues staying on the court. The other one, obviously, he doesn't really play ball. I think he might play overseas or something. What's the younger one, the rapper?
Yeah,
LiAngelo.
LiAngelo.
If I see him tear his ACL during a music video, I know that's it. He tears his ACL during a music video, it's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You can't teach durability, unfortunately, and it does seem like it's not in the ball nature to be durable, unfortunately. So I'm also kind of scared about us taking a chance on Lonzo Ball as well, because to your point, he's not durable either.
Yeah, and I feel bad about that because I like that kid a lot. Obviously,
Me too.
As a Bulls fan, he gave a lot of hope for half a season. I like him as a backup, but it has to be at a cheap price where if he goes down, it's not that big of a loss. Like, it can't be, and I feel like nowadays even guys like him would get like 15 mil a year somewhere, which is pretty crazy, but that seems to be the going rate. I'm watching guys that average like 5 points a game get like $15 million a year contracts. Like, that's insane to me. That's some
Lonzo-
John Concact type stuff. Like, come on, man.
Lonzo's only making 10 million in the next 2 years.
So he signed the extension. That's
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
He signed the extension, and they talked about still moving him. So I would do that for 10 million a year. I would take the 2 years and just give it a
Just try it.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
Is there anybody else that you see on the free agent market, or that you see names that have been out there that Joe that you think would work well here?
Well, I'm not going to lie, for one reason or the other, I definitely am enticed by Ja Morant. I mean, he's a great player, and if we can get him for the right price, I think he would fit great on this team. Both of their careers, Fox and Morant, have been compared, and for better or for worse, at least for me, that's been the name that I've been the highest on for us possibly getting. There's been some other names that are a little more out of the realm of possibility, but for me, what I think is attainable, I like Ja Morant. Truthfully, I do. I think he'd be great on the team.
Yeah, he would be a good get. As far as free agents go, where's Zebra at? Because she's in agreement with me. Man, I like Alexander Walker on Minnesota. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna re-sign him though, or offer him a little bit more money. But if they can't, man, I think he would be perfect on this team.
Oh, that'd be a
Good
one.
size, can knock down a three, could guard positions 1 through 4. I think that's who I'd like kind of like your dream target. That's who I'd like the Kings to go after.
That'd be cool. Hey, the Giants took the lead. It looks like.
Oh, really? I don't even have the game on. I thought
Yeah.
I saw it was 5-0. I turned it off.
Oh,
It's over.
Joe, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up.
And
the
over
Dickie
till it's over.
Especially with baseball.
Joe, how are you feeling about what do you think about Hallie? Like, what do you think about him in the finals? Do you have any to me, I know Sacramento likes to hold on to these players forever, no matter how many years are in here. But to me, it's like he was barely a blip on the radar here. So I get it because of the big trade, and he was a first-round pick, and he wanted to be here. But are you happy for him? Could care less, or how do you feel about that?
I definitely care a lot. I'll start by saying that. For me, he's a forever King just because I was still pretty young when we drafted him, and I just so vividly remember seeing him play in the summer league. And I turned to my buddy after he played his first game. I said, "That's the guy. We hit. That's our guy." So when we traded him, my initial reaction was shock. I was genuinely upset. But to see him flourish now, it's kind of like an "I told you so" moment for me, just because I truthfully saw that from the very beginning from him. I'm happy for him, man. I really am. He didn't ask to be traded. He wanted to be here. But I can't help but feel some sort of sour. It's just how we are as fans and whatnot. I know that we did try to go with him over Fox, and it wasn't going to happen as far as on the trade market and what we wanted to do to pick up Sabonis and the players we wanted to get. But in a perfect world, I wish he was still a King, and it hurts, man. It really does. It hurts to watch him be as good as he is, because he really is. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors with him. I think he's a bona fide superstar.
Do you think that would have worked here? Do you think he would have flourished here?
With Fox, no. If we kept Fox, I don't think it would have worked out very well, just because of attitude with Fox and whatnot, and they just didn't work well together. And who knows if we would have built around him. No, I don't think he would be in the finals with us right now. I think he's definitely hitting a higher ceiling on the other team, which also hurts way more.
For sure. For sure.
If only the Kings had traded Fox for Sabonis. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's just a big what if. And when you
Yeah.
get down to it, it's just no matter what way you tried to make that work, they just didn't want it like that. They weren't going to take that deal. But yeah, that is essentially what I'm saying.
I think the majority of us said in the past, but we do agree though, even if that had been the swap, like this organization would have sat on its ass, not did what Indiana did, right? And got the perfect pieces. Because I do think, like, I will say about Hallie, I do love his game. I love the way he's blossomed. But I also think because of the pieces around him, when he has struggled, because he has had ebbs and flows of like disappearing
Absolutely.
games, that the other players were there to pick him up, so that there was no blame to really shift, right? Because if everything was on him the way it was on Fox here, and everything started crumbling, he definitely would have got a share of that blame. And why can't you get Indiana over the hump? Why can't you get Indiana this? Like, so.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
That's my big thing from all that.
yeah.
I do think that Halliburton needs to play at a very high level here in the finals. No matter the team being behind him, he needs to play at a high level to get past OKC. I really do.
Yeah, I don't foresee this this series being crazy competitive, unfortunately. We can, if you guys want to segue into the finals preview, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I don't think the Pacers are going to win. Even though that's the team I want to win, because I am a Halliburton fan. I am, and I want to see him do well. But OKC is just a whirlwind, man. They're unstoppable. Obviously, SGA, the game that he's mastered, whether it's liked or not, and it's not, people hate it. He's really good at it. He's really good at what he does. He's good at drawing fouls, and he's not scared of that big moment. And he definitely gets that whistle now. Once you get over that, once you get right up over that, and you start getting that whistle, you can become an insane player.
Yep, and it's funny. We're talking about Halliburton. I think I've I haven't did a 180 on it, but I kind of had to stop myself and think about it. Like Joe said, he did not ask to be traded. The Kings did that. Right. And I've kind of been able to watch him in these playoffs, and I was like, man, he's been fun to watch. And I agree. This dude, this has been his playoffs. He's been a star in this playoffs. That being said, I don't see how he goes against that OKC defense and does what he does. I think OKC has an answer for every single piece that Indiana has. And it's going to be tough. I along with a lot of people in the chat, I think OKC wins in 5.
Yeah.
6. That's what I got.
If Michigan says any other number than 5, I just don't believe him. So if it doesn't say 5, I don't believe him.
You know what? I'm really excited to see what voice Tyrese is going to show up with.
Oh, God.
We probably have like one different one for every game.
Yeah,
we have a different one for every game.
I think I came to the conclusion he needs to have at least 15 points to have the deep voice for post game.
I could see that. I think that's a good. You might be onto something there.
I think so.
If he gets his confidence going, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they definitely need to steal one of the first 2 games. They can't be behind OKC 2-0. They just can't. They can't afford to. That team can, even when that team isn't shooting lights out. We've seen it, like Jalen Williams isn't hitting his shot, or some other guys, but their defense just keeps them in everything.
Yeah, they figure it out every single time.
Yeah, even after that Minnesota one, they just shot lights out. It happens. Indiana might have a game like that. It happens. But can you sustain it at the end of the day for a whole series? And most teams can't. I always say, I don't care what generation you're in, whether, I understand, even in Golden State's heydays of Steph and Clay going off, it was defensive stops at very important moments that helped them secure a lot of those championships. They played some great defense. And sometimes that's overlooked because of the greatness of Steph and Clay and the other role players that were hitting threes left and right. But if they didn't play defense, and I won't say his name because I can't stand him, one of their main starters that played great defense for a while. Yeah, without that, they don't win all those championships. I'm sorry.
Well, man, Clay, like when we're talking about that team, Clay was one of the best defenders in the league.
It was. You're right.
I mean,
You're,
Clay,
yeah.
I think Clay is, of course, Steph is Steph, but I mean, those teams right there, to your point, Manny, their defense, Clay, I think he was their best all around player. Like, I think Clay for the team, maybe not the series, but Clay was their most valuable player at that time.
Yeah, he was Pippen.
Steph was the superstar and the dude who could go supernova at any time, but Clay did absolutely everything. So
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. That any team that can play defense the way OKC does, I just think it's going to be hard for them. It's their series to lose.
And even when their
That's
players
the
get in
way
like
to put it.
foul trouble, they have a guy right after that comes in that basically just replaces him. It's like they're so loaded. It's disgusting how loaded it is, man. Part of me wants to hate them. It's just like it's the generation like, oh, you're so good, I just want to hate you. Because not only that, but like you see the 15,000 first round picks they got waiting in the wings. So they're just going to trade half of those to keep replenishing players, right? Like they put themselves in, but it's like I don't think I can ever tell you of a team that was constructed this flawlessly. Like even if it didn't work, but like it doesn't always work out, right? Like even if you don't win all these, like, there's just no way they're running off 7 straight champions. So whatever. But the way it looks on paper, constructed, and what they have behind it, both in picks and the other players, like I've never seen that done like this ever. Like you can't show me an organization that's had everything to a T perfect and there's no flaws in it. It's crazy.
It's a little scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary. So I hope, no, I'm not going to say it because it sounds mean. I almost said I hope one of them gets injured, but I don't. I was going to say it jokingly. I was going to say it jokingly, and I don't even want to say
You
it.
put it out there.
Yeah, why would you even do that?
Wow. I apologize.
I think we see at least one monster game from Tyrese, though. I will put that prediction on the board. I think at least one like just lights out game from him. Where
I think game 2, game 3. I'm calling it. Game 2, game 3.
yeah, it's gonna have to be early. Game 2. I mean, if he goes out there game 1, it's not gonna happen game 1. Game 2 or game 3 is the best way to put it. Yeah.
So everybody pick how many games and who. Obviously, I'm assuming pick the team and how many games to win the championship.
OKC and Ty.
OKC in 6 because we're gonna get a couple of Tyrese gems.
Okay.
OKC in 6.
I'm just gonna be an asshole picking it. No, I don't.
Do
I would
it.
be lying, but I'd be lying. Like I'd just be saying it to be a contrarian. I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. It's OKC. I say 6. I'm at 6. I can't see it.
Whoa. Somebody
I would
say
love to
Pacers
see-
in 5? Am I seeing that
There it
right?
is. I'm writing that down. I'm gonna remember this.
People
I
drink.
think you
People drink
misspelled.
heavily all the time. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
It
fine.
I
is
think
already
you
almost 9
misspelled
o'clock.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Thunder. You spelled it
Like,
Pacers.
People drink and then eat edibles and then they get on this chat. And it's
Yeah.
all good, man. It's
Yeah.
all good.
But I think they said Pacers only playing 5 games and then it's over. I think that's what they meant to
I
say.
think that's what they
There we
meant.
go.
I think you got it.
This question is specifically for you guys because all of you guys are huge Kings fans, and Deuce actually said it on one of his last Deuce and Mo shows, and I thought it was a really good question. Like the way things that you've seen, the Beam team, and then what we got now, and then who knows what's coming. Would you take a Weber-led team like run again, but it doesn't lead to a championship, but you get that run, or do you need a championship right now? Like not right now, but I'm saying like, or do you need a championship? Could you live with another run like that, or because of everything that's happened, like you just need to see a championship?
What happens after the run? Do we go back to another 16 years of futility?
I mean, that's the
do that.
question.
It's possible. You never know, but you get the run though. You get this magic run of one of them. Apparently, all of them should have statues, according to half the fans. So I mean,
After all this, we need the run and the championship.
you have both. You got to pick one.
No.
You got to pick one.
Wait, so we get a championship or a run?
Jesus Christ, man! You either get a run or a championship.
I mean, I'll take the chip.
Yeah.
I'll take.
Well, I'm not saying you take either, but would you be okay if there was a run and just, like Buffalo Bills 4 times in the Super Bowl? You didn't win it, but you had those extraordinary period of time where you made it to the Super Bowl every year, right? You just couldn't get Niners. They had this run for a little bit, but I mean, you had championships, so you can't even say that. But like, you have never won a championship, but you never know when you're going to. But would you, if you had this run, would you? You're never going to be satisfied till you get a championship.
Would it satisfy you? Yeah. Would it
Yeah.
scratch that itch?
But would
if
you?
got
Yeah.
that
Would you
run
be
again?
okay for a while, knowing that you had
Yeah.
this magical run? It could have
Well,
been the
real
Beam
quick.
team, right? Beam team went
Yeah.
on a 5-year
Right.
run, but you didn't win it. You couldn't get over the hump.
Well, this is a little bit out of my time period, but for me, I'm not satisfied with that anymore.
Yeah.
I just can't take it. I don't want to go anywhere if it's not all the way. And especially if that means that's all we get. If I'm cashing out for a couple of second round exits, third round, whatever it may be, no, that's not going to satisfy me at all. It'll be fun though. It'd be fun while it lasts. I'll dye my hair purple again.
I'm in just for that. I'm
Yeah.
in just for that.
Especially with I mean, I know like one team has nothing to do with us or anything like that, but knowing what, our proximity to Golden State, I can't have another run like that and it lead to nowhere,
Yeah.
And I think, Manny, to your original point, it wasn't that or a chip. It was, would you just want another run like that if it doesn't lead to a championship?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got to agree with her. I think no. I mean, I got to think they win, lose, or draw. They got to go for a trophy in that 7 years. So I don't know. I think I'm too envious of our neighbors.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that question, right? Because obviously, there was championships, so I can't be in that frame of mind because I'm not there for that. Like, as an outsider looking in and being an outside Kings fan, like, I want you. Like, I've always said it. Like, if it was the Bulls versus the Kings, I would take the Kings. I'd probably get a lot of flack for saying that, but because I've already had my championships, I want to see this team explode. I want to see this city explode. I want to be here for that. Like, I'm probably going to get a Kings tattoo at that point, going buck wild. Like, I might put it right now.
I like that. She's gonna dye her hair purple. Bring it. I'll do it too. Let's do it.
Right? Everybody
When
here
we
dyes
made
their
it-
hair. Kyron, you
Yeah.
dye your hair purple?
When
No.
we made it to the playoffs, I dyed my hair purple. I was
No?
all the way in. I did. I have pictures. I'll show you guys. I was at game 1, and I'll never forget. I mean, like, truthfully, a core memory I have is turning that corner and seeing Golden One Center lined up for game 1 when we finally made it in. I had my buddy I had one of my best friends with me, and I literally just got chills thinking about it. It was a core memory to see it, just a sea of purple, people all the way back to the street. But knowing
It's
what we know
amazing,
now,
man.
it is though. It's surreal. It's
I can tell you
unimaginable.
just from going to games in the last couple of years, from this crew to like people like I've met so many friends and people who are fans of Kid D'Lo and Casey or the show, and like met them, or even just people I've met through different people, and like, and it's been a blast. And even when I went with my girl and I took the kid, like, she was like jokingly was like, how do you know so many people? Like, it's a community. It really is. And you're always going to have a bad bunch here and there, just nuts, right? But for the most part, like, it's been a positive experience. And I can only imagine, what this town and what this city and what this fan base would be like. Tears everywhere, like, just the parades and just the joy, man. Like, this city and these fans deserve it. Like, it's one of the best fan bases I've ever been around. And again, like, I wait for that day. I'm waiting patiently for that day. I'd love to see a championship come rolling down into this city, man.
It will happen eventually.
Look at you were a preacher right there. You see that? He was like
It
Reverend,
will happen eventually. I
Reverend
promise.
Brazil. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Sacramento will have a baby boom after the Kings win the championship.
There
Oh,
it is.
absolutely.
I'm sleeping in the street
It'll
after
be
the after
baby
the
boom.
parade.
It's gonna be a syphilis boom. It's gonna be all kinds of booms just because of that damn.
Chlamydia everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Absolutely, y'all. That's the fucks. Yeah, but for sure.
kind of parties are you guys going to?
Yeah, y'all nasty.
I mean, look, man, all the parties go from zero, and there's the horrible ones too that go on. Don't act like they don't. I've been at the Merc. I did that. You can't tell me otherwise. So cool. Well, I think this is a fun series to watch. If you're a basketball fan in general, I don't see how you don't want to see this series. So just make it. Yeah, Drew. Only Drew Down could come in like that.
Drew has at least one of those every single day where I'm like, damn it,
Every
dude.
day.
I laughed at that.
No, not that kind of party, Kyle.
You guys make it tough. I'm working in the morning and I'm reading all of this, and I'm like I gotta stay professional right now. Like I'm technically on the clock. You guys crack me up.
I don't
You're
even know
not
how you
seeing
do it
D'Lo and
with phone
Casey
calls.
after you. They don't stay professional.
That's true.
Yeah. I get some crazy calls though. I do. Not
Mm.
all of them make it through. I get some crazy calls.
See, that's what I would like.
That I
to like
believe.
you or Jesse have a segment or whatever, and you guys detail some of the crazy ass calls you guys get and tell us about some of that stuff.
A lot of it can't be repeated, but we get some crazy ones. Definitely.
I believe it. I think my favorite is still that Kenny laughs to. Still one of my favorites. That and Javier. Now, Javier, you can go to hell if you're watching this out there. But him, those two, those are some of the.
Javier's trying to call in on your Mitch phone.
Yeah, we got. I'm working. I am working on the Mitch phone. So we will have that set up soon. We will have that set up soon.
I have seen Mitch's Twitter, Drew. I
It is.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place. When you can
Mitch.
see people's likes, you don't want to go through Mitch's likes.
Mitch taught me to watch what I like, man. Mitch taught me what to watch what I like. So, what else we got going on? I think we got through most of the final stuff. Let's go to the soundtracks of life, man. We talked about it last week. Joe, we were talking about albums, and then Katrina brought up soundtracks, and you know, I will say it as I'm a kid of the '80s, right? So I remember in the '80s, and it's very rare to see it, but in the '80s, soundtracks were literally geared towards. You could listen to a soundtrack and basically from front to end see how this movie was going. Like it literally, you'll hear a song and remember whatever movie it is that you watched, what scene it was that they played that song. It probably was cheesy because it was the '80s, and almost everything in the '80s was cheesy. But it really was a staple thing to get soundtracks and kind of put them together with the movie. I know you're a little bit younger, Joe, but what's some of your favorite soundtracks that you love?
Yeah, so I actually thought about this for a while today. I spent some time kind of reflecting on a lot of movies that I've watched. I actually will start by prefacing that I am not a movie guy. That is like a running. A lot of the people in my building are like movie fanatics. I love a good movie, but I'm not. I don't classify I spend my time watching sports or like playing video games, truthfully. But for soundtracks, man, what came to me, and this is something I've mentioned just in regular conversation before. This is kind of off the track. The Curious George soundtrack was composed by Jack Johnson for the whole movie. Mm-hmm. Go give the Curious George soundtrack a listen. I promise you will love it. I mean, that is like a classic. So I'll start off with Curious George. You know, I got to throw Pulp Fiction in there. They set the tone really well with a lot of the songs they had on there. I was reading something about how it kind of reignited the surf rock era as well for a little bit there. And then I'm gonna stay on the newer generation here a little bit. You know, Transformers had a really good soundtrack. You had Deftones on there. You had Linkin Park. Going to the grunge. Transformers, dude. Transformers had a really good soundtrack and a couple of movies.
Okay. Katrina.
There's a few of them, and I can't think of a recent one. They're all old. Above the Rim.
Oh yeah.
Poetic Justice. How High. 8 Mile. Waiting to Exhale, and then The Wash. Right? Right? Yeah. The Wash soundtrack. I had that on repeat. I was listening to it today. I'll still. Dre, Snoop. That's a good one too.
Black Panther was another one I had on my list as well.
Yep, for sure. That was one of mine, especially because it really was Kendrick. Yeah, that's basically a Kendrick album.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
He produced
that
the
was
whole
just in
thing.
my Spotify. That was literally just in my playlist. Like that wasn't even a movie related to me. There was just a ton of great music on that one.
And it's been a while since I think I can't, because there's a lot of soundtracks we love, but they literally gave Kendrick that soundtrack and told him to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So he produced the whole thing, and it was his vision. And you rarely see that in a soundtrack where it's one artist kind of like encapsulating the whole soundtrack. So I think that's underrated. So when people talk about Kendrick albums all the time, like for me, that's big. Like that's a big album for him. So Kyron, what you got?
All right, so I did have Above the Rim on there. Black Panther is also one of my favorite ones. One that's underrated because the movie was not great. If you guys haven't seen it, is Sunset Park. That's a good one.
yeah.
It had Raycon and
Yeah.
other ones I had was Set It Off. If you haven't seen that,
That's who Eddie said that. I asked Eddie earlier today, and Eddie he said that was his favorite.
yeah. Rush Hour. The first Rush Hour was a great soundtrack.
Definitely.
Also, Purple Rain.
Yep.
And
For sure.
Sister Act 2 is actually, if you listen to that entire soundtrack, especially if you're into R&B like I am, that's a great soundtrack. And then lastly, I had, and I don't care what y'all say, Aladdin is one of the best soundtracks out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm disappointed in you in something, but I'll wait till I talk about that.
Wait,
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
All right. Maybe Manny and Kyron might be the only ones who know what I'm talking about here. But, well, I don't know how old you are, Kyron, but us 80s kids.
Do you see the grays on here? That's
Yeah, all right,
That's
all right.
the kids, though. That could be just from the kids.
So, man, back when I was a kid, even though the movie was traumatizing as hell, the Transformers the movie soundtrack.
yeah.
If you guys, that opening scene where they're fighting, I mean that was just awesome. Some of the ones that come to mind though, I think James was talking about. If you guys ever seen Garden State, it has a really good soundtrack.
Yes.
Just because I like all the music, and like the Forrest Gump soundtrack is really really good. I mean, I was kind of thinking about this too. It's not necessarily the best soundtrack, but I think it has some like needle drop moments in it that are really, really good. As Friday, Friday, when the Rolls Royce song comes on every time, Cube's girl runs by and stuff like that. I think that's one of the like best uses of music. Into the Spider-Verse, the first movie, that's a really, really good soundtrack.
That was a good one.
My daughter's still, the Post Malone song is still in her head.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then, man, I had one, and then I'm forgetting it now. So, Manny, go ahead, because I had one on the tip of my mind, and I can't think of it right now. So,
Kyle Space Jam is a great soundtrack. Also.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. I'm gonna go back to 80s a little bit, right? Rocky 4.
Oh.
Rocky 4 is to me an iconic soundtrack. Like that song, you can listen to that and know every single scene. It's one of those. Breaking from the Breaking soundtrack.
Yeah.
Juice is one of my favorite soundtracks too. It's a little bit. It was a little obscure basketball movie, Soul in the Hole. I like that soundtrack. I have Black Panther, obviously. And Cardi, I was a little disappointed you didn't have no comic book movies. Guardians of the Galaxy. I know it's both of them, Volume 1 and 2. I know it's older songs, but it was so perfectly done.
I thought someone would say that. That's why I didn't.
Okay,
So disappointing.
it's a good soundtrack, but it's also like not an original soundtrack. It's just music from different eras. So I didn't think it.
Creator, shame on you. Shame
I had Black Panther.
Shame. Okay, but you're black, so I expect you to have Black Panther.
Wow, damn.
I'm just kidding. I'm
only
kidding.
half black. Damn it.
Now, I will say there's one. I don't even know if I've actually listened to the soundtrack, but because the movie is basically it's almost a musical, I feel like if you've never watched Baby Driver,
Mm.
it is a phenomenally done movie where the music in the movie literally tells a story as it's going through the whole movie. It's phenomenal because I don't know if that movie would have been as good if it wasn't for the music. And I think there's a lot of movies like that where the music sometimes helps make the movie. It helps like enhance it. You feel certain scenes
doubt.
because of the music, right? Like, and I think a lot of times, like, because if you just took the movie itself, it wouldn't be the same without the placement of the movie, without the placement of the music. And I thought Baby Driver is one of the most phenomenally made movies where the music kind of like drew you in throughout the music and got you to keep your eyes on, on the movie. So
I also think about like which movies like use music the best. It's not maybe necessarily the soundtrack, but one of my favorite songs was at the end of Thor. So Joe, you're being a grunge fan and stuff. They use "Walk" by the Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah.
At the end of that, I mean that was one of the best ending songs in a movie. That's another one I was thinking about. So.
Yeah, when Batman started using Nirvana, when they took that route, dude, like I'm all for that. That I love the more edgy grunge stuff when it comes to movies, no doubt.
No,
I gotta
Soul Food. Sorry,
Soul
Joe.
Food is a great
Yeah.
soundtrack, but it's just, I just didn't have it in my top, but it's a good soundtrack.
It was a good
yeah, I
one.
mean, there's so many. I mean,
Yeah.
again, like I think if you're a lover of music, you have a great appreciation, no matter what kind of music you like. And even when you go, if you want to see something as basic as Star Wars, where it's like there's just placements of sounds and music that capture scenes and capture, they capture the visual effects that are on the screen that draw you into that movie. Because if you don't get that right, you can lose a person very quickly.
Well, I think too that's the difference between score and a soundtrack.
True.
Because if we're talking
Right.
about movie scores, I mean, to me, I think one of the most iconic is Jurassic Park. I mean, I could hear that whole soundtrack in my head. Love every
Star
minute.
Wars.
Yep, Star Wars and
Even
Indiana
like,
Jones, even.
oh yeah, absolutely, oh yeah. Even like just iconic sounds, right? Like you think about Friday the 13th, the first thing you think about is like there's just certain things that capture you. That,
Halloween.
Halloween, like all that, man. Like
Jaws.
that's what made horror movies so
Yep,
great.
Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws is one of the most perfect examples. Like in a movie where the times you didn't have special effects and all that, like everything was basically props and stuff. Like the music was necessary. Those sounds, that edgy sound was necessary to encapsulate the fear and your anticipation for the shark to show up at some point. So yeah, all that, like, and we don't see that, like, going back to soundtracks, like I feel like those are a thing of the past as far as like the association, right? Like of how the music fits with the movie. Now I feel like they just do an album and it's just associated with the movie. Might not have anything to do with how you feel about the movie at all. It's just artists creating songs that they're trying to get on the billboards because it's associated with whatever movie's coming out.
Although in that new Lilo and Stitch movie, that kid Ian Tongi, he's the guy who won from American Idol.
Okay.
He sings some of the songs on that soundtrack. He's a Hawaiian kid, man. He's really, really good. Like he sings some of them songs that you know from the movie, like the Hawaiian roller coaster ride, some of those songs like that. Man, he's really, really good.
I have to listen to it. I haven't even seen the movie yet, so I haven't had a chance to. I'll have to check out that and the soundtrack. I do miss that though. Even the music videos, like if you knew there was a music video coming out, it always had scenes of the movie within the music, even if it didn't make any sense. There would be scenes in the movie, right? Like you watch Boomerang sound, like the Boomerang soundtrack.
Another one.
Yeah, Hot Sex on a Platter, the video, like all that. You see just the screen on the background with the movie just playing.
Oh yeah, and someone posted in the chat, Brown Sugar. That one's a good one too.
Oh, how we forget?
So good. Mos Def, Queen Latifah. Yeah. That movie was revolved around music and the music industry. So,
is Kilby just watching this from like when we first started an hour ago? It's killing me right now, dude.
He'll catch up eventually.
He's getting his Ben on.
I was gonna say I'm the only Ben on this show here, damn it.
Ben P. You're fine.
Hey, so next week, I think we should do what Tasha said. We should do favorite WWE entrance songs.
That was a great idea, Tasha.
Seriously,
Great idea.
Because
she was like,
I didn't
she
even
was
know
talking
she
about
was
the ones from
gonna
the
show up this week
'60s. I
after
was like, I didn't even know they had music then.
I didn't know she was going to show up this week after R-Truth got released, so I wasn't
Man,
sure.
I have so many things to say, but I'm just left speechless.
No. Go ahead. Speak on
No,
R-Truth,
I
please.
just-
Please.
Whew.
What is your favorite
us,
R-Truth moment, Tasha?
bringing us.
Joe, how does that work for you, Joe? Being at the station and listening to all the wrestling references.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of this has been, especially with the wrestling, but I can kind of put this to multiple experiences I've had coming up as an up and comer at Odyssey. You kind of just have to roll with the punches, man. Even if you don't know what's going on, what they're talking about, you got to be enthusiastic about it. You got to appreciate it, and it's been a trip because when we talk sports, even if it's something a little bit out of my expertise, I definitely have, I got a stake in the fight. But when we start talking wrestling, man, I am so lost. It's really hard for me to keep up. But I've been loving it, dude. I've found myself watching highlights lately, whatnot, and trying to get immersed in just everything that it has to bring. We ran promotions for WWE when they were here for all the stations. And I gave away some tickets. I got to send people out there and whatnot. So I've been a little bit involved with it, and it's been fun, dude. I love seeing how passionate people still are. This is reminding me, I've actually been to 2 different WWE meet and greets for KSFM because I'm with the 6 stations, and they send me out to all of these events. I'm out at least once a week at something, just whether it be Sacramento or the greater area. So I don't remember the names of the wrestlers I met off the top of my head, but the fans have been amazing. Depending on where you go, the fan base is very different, whether it be a specific band or a WWE meet and greet. And one thing I love about the WWE fan base is just how nice everybody is. And I can just get behind that, like a good time, nothing too serious. I love it, truthfully. I think I'm becoming a fan slowly.
Uh-oh.
I think I am.
Hey, Joe, I had another question for you. Is it, just off the, just kind of wondering, do you like doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, or is your goal to eventually, get, talk more, on camera or on the radio? Like, is that something you want to pursue, or do you like the behind the scenes stuff? Like, what are you kind of going towards?
Yeah, well, I want to be in front of the camera, no doubt. That's why I was super stoked to come join you guys today. I've had a camera in my hands as long as I can remember. I had a computer at and I learned how to type, how to do all of these things on a computer from a very, very young age. And I find myself using a lot of the skills I learned growing up, and even as going through middle school, high school, all of this. I find myself applying a lot of those skills to this day, whether it be Photoshop or audio editing or just simply talking to the people. I definitely want to be in front of the camera, and I want to, at the end of the day, have my own brand that I can build behind or something like that. I just absolutely love it. I love talking to you guys, and my favorite part, truthfully, is going out and meeting all you guys in person has been like so much fun. I look forward to it every time. I'm going to be out at the next event we got coming up. That's all I'm going to say, but I love it, man. So I've been having such a good time just integrating into this Sacramento culture. I've been a fan for the longest time of everything that's been going on around here. So the short answer to that would be I absolutely want to keep going and be in front of the camera, no doubt.
Well, they need somebody 8 to 10, man. We don't have anything to listen to when we first get to work, so we need that 8 to 10 time slot filled.
Jesse and Joe show's got a ring to it.
J, double J.
Jesse and Joe and Leezy. Okay, shout out my guy Leezy. He's got to be on the show too. That's my boy.
When he picks him at some point. Yeah, that's what was always amazing me about Jesse. Like, as much as an introvert that Jesse is, and D'Lo is too, to an extent, and he's admitted it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're phenomenal on the mic, and Jesse's phenomenal on the mic. And you're a chatty house too, man. Like you do really well when you're out there with the subject matters and coming off the cuff. And I always find that amazing. You seem a little bit more outgoing, right? Jesse's like, leave me the hell alone. But when it comes to talking, like he's right there, like, and he's a natural. So
Jesse is a pro's pro.
Yeah.
And I don't just give out compliments like that to anybody, truthfully. Just the way he goes about his business day to day. He's been a big, I've tried to model a lot of what I do after what he does. And he is introverted, but he can flip that switch if he needs to be. And I tell you what, man, once he walks into that studio, he is not introverted anymore at all. So shout out to him, man. He's really good at what he does, no doubt.
So did you bring anything for us today, Joe? Is there anything you wanted to talk?
I did bring some stuff for you guys. Unfortunately, the Giants are going to be proving my point a little dumb here, just because I wanted to talk about how the offense has been just absolutely stagnant. And I also wanted to talk a little bit of A's. If you guys didn't know, baseball is absolutely my forte. I got the Giant stuff up here. I worked for the River Cats, actually. Little fun fact about me. And so that was one of the jobs I had before this job, and that's what made me kind of realize that I want to be more in the sports world. I wanted to talk about how the Giants have a hitting problem right now, but it's not 100% on the players. Now, if you're not hitting the ball, you're not going to get hits, but the Giants have a ballpark problem, man. And I'm sure this has been repeated a million times before. If I could choose one place to be, it's Oracle Park. So don't misunderstand me there. That is my favorite place to be on this earth. But it's like they built the stadium for Barry Bonds, man. I mean, it really feels that way. I have a question for you guys, and it might be a really easy question. It's pretty trivial. But I was wondering what your guys' guess would be for the last hitter to hit 30 home runs for the Giants. And I know that might be a little niche, but it's...
I don't think Posey did, right?
Posey did not hit 30 home runs for the Giants.
Is it Bonds?
It's Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is the last person to hit 30. Just 30.
Wow.
30 is not very many home. Like, it's a good amount. But
this day and age.
I was going to say, like, Brandon Crawford.
No. Crawford never came close. Brandon Belt was what John Cole said. Belt had 29. So,
wow.
This stadium is just suffocating us, and it does help because we are a pitcher-heavy team. But too often do I see balls hit in places that have no business being caught, and I just couldn't imagine. And what this is doing is scaring away big-name free agents. And I want to see a big-time hitter come to San Francisco. Shohei Ohtani did not sign with us. I promise you, one of the main proprietors of that. Now, obviously, this wasn't the number one, but I guarantee the ballpark went into his thought process on why he doesn't want to play here. And that just doesn't sit right with me. And yeah, that's why they always play small ball. But
same for Aaron Judge.
The exact same thing. Now, left field's a little bit more easier for hitters as far as, so right-handed hitters do get a little bit more of leeway, but Judge would hit over 30 here, but he would not come anywhere near what he's producing now at Yankee Stadium. You take someone like Jung-Hoo Lee, for example. I think he has 3 or 4 home runs this season, and 2 of them were in 2 games at Yankee Stadium. You just hit the ball, and not only is it 415 to Triples Alley, or it might be even farther. You also have that wind from the Bay coming in, and even if the stadium was tiny, it would still be a pitcher's ballpark. I promise. So move the fences in a little bit, man. I can't remember if it was Kyle's idea, but I heard someone's idea about putting like a fountain of some sort in Triples Alley. And just closing it off. Start there. Close off Triples Alley.
And it doesn't have a weird like angle right there. What is it? Left center or right center? I can't remember.
Right center, yeah.
Right center, yeah. I mean, it has that weird like angle too to it. that
Yeah.
just extends it out. So I mean, you're right. Like sometimes center fielders could run for a mile out there, catch a ball, and I mean, where you think you're getting a triple, unless you just hit a gapper. I mean, that ball's getting caught.
Yeah. There's a lot of balls that should be home runs that are just flyouts. And for me, I'm just sick of time in, time out, not getting that free agent. And I know for a fact that I know it's not the number one factor in this, but at this point, I think we should do everything we can to bring in some more free agents. And I think it starts with bringing in the fences a little bit, truthfully.
And it is a beautiful ballpark. Like I haven't gone in a while, but we would take the trip down there just for either gone to a couple Cubs games there and the Metallica night.
Yep.
I hate that it gets so cold. So as night hits, it's chilly, but
Freezing cold.
But it's a beautiful park. It's a fun time. I love the little kids area where they can run around the base right there by the bleachers. It's a phenomenal, like you said, it's beautiful. The food is good, drinks are good, but
It's amazing.
yeah, I agree. But like you said, like it's just damn near impossible unless you're bring it like Kyle said, bring back HGH, man. Bring it back, man. Bring back the Wood, man.
Or that works too. I mean, if we're gonna just start juicing, just have them all juice, whatever. It'll be more exciting anyway.
So who's your favorite Giant of all time?
Favorite Giant of all time, man. That is just there's no question at all. It's Buster Posey. I grew up as a catcher, and I caught my whole life all the way up until high school, and he was my idol. I remember when we drafted him. I remember when he made his debut. It's got to be Buster Posey. I remember all 3 titles he brought us. It's Buster Posey, no doubt. I got my jersey right over here.
Nice.
Nice.
Michigan was a catcher too.
Oh, awesome.
He's been catching for a while.
Yeah, sure.
No, but that's awesome, man. Like, do you still play like softball or baseball?
Yeah,
You still play?
Yeah, so I don't play baseball anymore, but I do play softball on the weekends. I'm on a team. We're actually playing a competitive league. I'm a very competitive person. Everything I do, I want to be better than someone at.
I need to
and
see
that-
that side of you.
Yeah, and so that's another thing. There is a side of me that most people at work and on the stream don't see, but I love bringing people up with me. Obviously, I'm not going to put anyone down, but I'm a very competitive person. I do play softball on the weekends, and I play in a league where we play 7 or 8 games in a day. So I'll get out there at 8 a.m. and it won't end until like 9 p.m. And I feel like a kid out there, man. I still am. So I feel great. It's awesome just getting to stretch the legs, run. And then on Sundays, I'm normally at the golf course. So, I can't get over. I haven't given it up yet. In my mind, I'm still like an all-star caliber player. But in reality, I'm just playing slow pitch softball with my friends on Saturdays. But we'll get there.
The joys of being
I
young. I think all of us
envy-
looked at that and we're like, mm.
That's what I was saying, Kyron. I was like, man, I envy his young legs because I was just playing basketball with my son about an hour ago, and I feel like I'm gonna die.
Hey, I will say basketball takes a good amount out of you, though. Like when I play pickup games, it's a different type of tired when you're playing basketball up and down the court. No doubt about that.
You can even be in the greatest shape of your life, but if you don't run up and down courts, you're still gonna get winded. You're still gonna feel it. It's just a different kind of cardio.
It's just different. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
something you typically, if you're just a regular person, you're not going to be, working out the exact muscle groups that you're using when you're playing basketball, really. I mean, you can, and funny enough, golf won't wind you, but it will definitely, like, I've had some pretty serious injuries from golf, from not stretching properly and swinging too hard. You can mess yourself up pretty bad with golf, too, because it's just not a natural movement.
That's I live behind a golf course.
Okay, cool.
Big Mahoney's.
Okay.
But so I got a bunch of free golf balls if you ever need them. That's for sure.
Oh, hey,
I just never play. Like I just don't get a chance to play. But I
dude,
like the ones in my backyard.
I need some golf balls. I am not a
Got
scratch golfer.
I'll drop 'em
I'm
off
not
to
a
you
good
at
golfer, dude. I'm still trying to get there. So
I'll drop
I'm
them
gonna
off
take
to you at Roseville. I'll drop
yeah,
'em off.
appreciate it.
Yep, for sure. Before we I do want to let you get your thoughts in. What about the A's? Because that's always a hot topic. David is a hardcore A's fan. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, I can talk about the A's all day. My buddy's actually out there right now. Shout out John. He's a huge A's fan. He for the most part gives me the inside scoop because he's a little bit more tapped in than I am on the A's. But it realistically boils down to a very concerning pitching problem. It looks like they're most likely already going to be shopping Luis Severino at the deadline, which is not surprising considering what's going on. But this team is just it seems as if they're already giving up. They do have a couple of gems in Jacob Wilson. They got Lawrence Butler, who's amazing. And, I think Brent Rooker's really good, and I really like Mason Miller, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple of guys who are pretty good. But, they're going to – it almost seems like Sacramento never had a chance, unfortunately, just because we've been given – this is what we have now, and John Fisher has been doing everything in his power to make sure that we don't embrace, and it's working. People aren't going to the games. I believe I read that, I think it was yesterday or the day before, was the lowest attendance. Mm-hmm. So we're already trending down. But here's the thing. I don't blame Sacramento. They're not embracing the city. They're actually trying to do the exact opposite of that. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's not a fun team to watch. You go out there and you see them lose 10-1. No one wants to sit there through that. It's $11 for tickets. And then also you had everyone get priced out of the market before they actually even got in. Mm-hmm. And that's that. I mean, yeah. And so before they even threw the first pitch, it kind of felt like this thing was already doomed to fail between the media shed. I don't know if you guys saw that. The media shed is ridiculous. And then also just, as far as the stadium itself, I do commend everyone at Sutter Health Park. I have worked there before, but I think they're doing their best job. Unfortunately, they're not given much to work with. So nobody turn their heel on Sutter Health Park. Still go support your team. Bryce Eldridge is actually going to be out in Sacramento with the River Cats. He's the number one prospect for the Giants. If you don't want to watch an A's game, catch the River Cats. But I still urge everyone to go out, just because at the end of the day, this is our trial. This is our trial for the MLB. And with attendance, we're already not selling out a AAA stadium. And while we have solid excuses for that, ownership doesn't want to hear it. Rob Manfred doesn't want to hear it, the commissioner of the MLB. Nobody wants to hear it other than us. We're the only people that understand why we're not coming out to see this team play.
They understand. They just don't give it down.
They understand, but they don't care. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So I'm scared.
They're going to be – wait till next year when those tickets go on sale. Nobody's going to rush out like they did this year to get those tickets and pay full price. Like, they're just going to wait for the daily tickets like everybody's caught on to it now. Just wait till the day of or the day before. You'll get whatever. You can sit in the dugout for like $25.
Yeah, you can play for 50. Yeah. I was like, relief pitcher for $75. I'll take that, I guess. Yeah, there we go.
Well, man, I mean, it has to be unprecedented, a team doing this to two. I mean, it's what amounts to two fan bases now. Me being a longtime A's fan, it's like, man, people don't remember the A's used to outdraw the Giants.
Yeah.
In the 80s, the A's outdrew the Giants routinely. And, I mean, just to see the abandonment of the fan base, and this team has this team hasn't had an identity for the last 30 years, and every 3 years when this team makes a run, all the players are sold off, so you can't you can never. I mean, it wasn't the ballpark, it wasn't the ballpark, it wasn't the city. People would still go to the Coliseum, that crap hole that it was, but it was our crap hole. And
it all goes back to John Fisher.
Well, the reason why the Giants sold the way they did is because they had an identity. I mean, people were buying Panda hats and Buster Posey jerseys and Lincecum, having those wigs that had Lincecum hair on it. Nobody knows who the hell's on the team half the time for the A's. So, I mean, I could talk ad nauseum for that, but I mean, it just pisses me off. So,
if I had been single during those Oakland days and lived in Oakland, I would just walk around and say I play for the A's just so I could get some numbers and hook up. Like I play for the A's. Who wouldn't believe me? Who wouldn't believe me, man?
I actually, it's funny you say that. I make the joke every once in a while. I still have a couple of checks from the River Cats, and every once in a while I'll make the joke. I was like, yeah, I pitched 1 1/3. They gave me like $75. I didn't do too well, but I got
carry that around with you.
Yeah, I have pitched for the River Cats. I have the check to prove it.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I as much like David said, and I think a lot of us believe it. And if you have any sense, you believe it. Until that dude's not owning the baseball team, this is what you're going to get, even in Vegas. And if he thinks he's going to get, like, it's literally the new people coming in and out. Vegas people could care less about a sports team.
I told you
to
guys,
gamble, drink, and hook up with hookers.
I have relatives out there in Vegas who live in Vegas and Henderson, and they haven't talked about the A's once.
Yeah.
They could care less. And I mean, that's a small sample size, but I mean, I asked them too. They said, man, nobody even knows if they're really coming. Like even the people there, they don't believe the A's are coming.
Yeah. So if they do, they do. If they don't, I know one thing is like, even I could say, like I said before on the show, like, yes, they're building a soccer stadium here. Yes, from what I've heard, the plans are for being able to accommodate a baseball team if that ever comes to fruition. But he's not going to get any more people here. Even if it's the A's that end up, let's just say everything goes wrong in Vegas. As long as he's owning the team and running it the way he is, he's still going to get the same damn crowds until you decide to do right by the team and the fans. So it is what it is, man.
And one last point to that, Las Vegas is not a baseball town, just because I don't think, and so whenever I try to make this argument, people, well, the Raiders are doing awesome there. Well, here's the thing. You are encouraged to go to a Raiders game and go crazy. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go there, get excited, get drunk, have fun. Baseball games are a little more cordial. You aren't encouraged to be a fool at baseball games. Matter of fact, you'll actually probably get kicked out if you're too loud. So I don't think that gels well with Las Vegas at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, bro, it was phenomenal having you. Like I said, you're a great guy, or you seem so on the surface. I don't know about anything on the dark. I don't know about anything on the dark web, but at least on this side of it, you're an awesome individual. Hopefully you'll come on again. We'd love to have you on again, obviously.
Absolutely.
We can't wait to hear you always on the Insiders and helping out on D-Lo and Casey and all the other 13 shows that you help run. So
look for me. That. I'll be out there. Look for me at concerts. I'll probably be out there.
Can't wait to meet you in person, man.
Of course. Hopefully, the next live show, you got to be at the next live show.
I will be at the next live show.
Cool. Drinks on first, not drinks. The first drink is on me because I got a kid.
I'm gonna be working, man. I got a company vehicle I got to drive. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna say anything on air. We'll see. We'll play it by ear.
I don't know what we got going on next week. We're trying to get through the summer here, so yeah, we'll have some more guests. We're working on a couple more guests that we'll have on, but obviously always Kings Talk, and we'll talk about whatever's going on in the finals, and we'll come up with some other stuff. Katrina's gonna do all the hosting duties next week. So Katrina.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Me.
Yes, you are. I'm just in the background next week. So I'm gonna let you do the hosting.
Right.
So look out for us next week, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Thanks everyone for coming out to the Chatty House after party. Peace.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the likes now. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party. We just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party.